Welcome to Over 40 Fabulous and Pregnant. This is episode 9. I am your host, Jamie Massey. In today's world, we are not supposed to discuss women's age, but I want to celebrate it and support every woman's pregnancy journey over 40. While we do discuss medical treatments and medicine, we are not doctors. These are women's experiences that came before us, not medical advice. And on today's show, we have Rachel from Pennsylvania. She turned 40 during her pregnancy, and during this recording, she is 25 weeks pregnant. She hasn't had her baby yet. She is actually due in February of 2023. And when she found out, her cycle was a few days late. But she was so sure she wasn't pregnant. So sure she wasn't pregnant that she stopped by to get pregnancy tests on her way to a run and took a test in a porta potty. Her story, it's really good. And Rachel was also able to conceive both of her babies with only one ovary and one fallopian tube. I just love women that have this proof that it is possible. And for a podcast update, I want to create a community for you. I want you to have an even more fabulous pregnancy. Now, this is going to be a private community away from Facebook, so you can share your journey in a safe place right alongside other women who are also over 40. So if you're interested in that, please go to over40fabulousandpregnant.com/waitlist to be the first to know when the membership is available. I will also leave a link in the description for you. And for our IVF update, I do not have an update. I don't think I'm going to be sharing that anymore. But if you do want to know about it and didn't listen to last episode, go to episode 8 if you want the story as to why I'm not sharing anymore. And with that, let's get into Rachel's pregnancy journey. Rachel, welcome to Over 40 Fabulous and Pregnant.
Hello, thank you for having me. I am Rachel and I am a primary school teacher. I have been a teacher for 19 years. I have taught preschool, first grade, and currently I am a second grade teacher. It's my 9th year teaching second grade. This is the grade that I have been with the longest. And I was born and raised and currently live about north of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Oh, cool. That's very north.
Yes, yes. And it's very dreary here today. So it's nice to be inside and kind of cuddled up here. So
Yeah.
I am 40 years old. I am 40. I turned 40 this summer. And I'm actually pregnant with my second. I have an 8-year-old boy.
Mm-hmm.
I actually struggled with infertility to have him. It took my husband and I about 3 years in order to conceive him. And my husband and I have been married for 12 years. So we pretty much started trying to have him right away. And I went through so much with him, so many tests, so many doctors and specialists. To make a super long story short, it turned out I had stage 4 endometriosis, which I had no idea because I didn't have any pain. My specialist at the time actually found a cyst that was 11 centimeters and scheduled my surgery. I had to have surgery. And by the time I had surgery, it was 22 centimeters and I had stage 4 lesions all over the place. He ended up having to take out my left ovary and my left fallopian tube as well. And it was pretty scary. And, he assured me like our goal was to get you pregnant. And he was going to start me on some hormone therapy, but I actually got pregnant right after that. Um, so that was like the magic, the magic pill there, I guess. And I just remember taking that test and willing that positive line to show up. And it was actually November 11th of 2013, so yesterday, that I found out I was pregnant with him. And
Wow.
and he was born on my birthday. So um,
How fun.
yeah. So we share a birthday. So we also have three fish. They're my son's fish. He named them
That's
Nicholas
fun.
and Sam after hurricanes, after the hurricanes, and Stripey. So, and we have three cats too. We have two senior cats, Callie and Leah, and we
Uh-huh.
accidentally adopted one in the spring, and she's about a year and a half. Her name is Bella. So that's our family. I typically enjoy fitness, lifting, running, spinning, although currently I just have been too tired and too busy to focus on that. Even while pregnant, it has been something I've wanted to do, but just
Mm-hmm.
not quite as much as I would like. I do enjoy reading. I enjoy true crime podcasts and TV shows, which is really kind of strange, but I don't know. I kind of enjoy those as kind of like my little, secret interest there. Um,
Uh-huh.
go ahead.
Going back to your
Yes,
surgery,
yes,
so the endometriosis was preventing
yes.
you from getting pregnant. That's right?
I think I was just so filled with with the lesions, and the cyst was just so big. Maybe I have had, eggs fertilized, but they weren't able to implant anywhere. So, um,
Wow.
that's what I was thinking. That's what I thought. So once everything was kind of cleared out, then I had, a chance at that point.
And your next cycle after the surgery, you were able to get pregnant?
Yes, yes, it
Oh
was.
my gosh.
Probably I wasn't really advised to do it, but honestly, I just wanted to, I didn't want to waste any time, so it did happen. Yeah, so we were pretty surprised. So I think that was it.
Wow, that's a really good story.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, he's our miracle
Let's
baby for sure.
I love those stories. So let's go back to when you found out you were pregnant with
Okay.
your second, because that's a really fun story. You posted that, and I was like, that's hilarious.
Yeah. So, my husband has always wanted another child, and I was open to it, but I had so much trauma from everything that I went through with getting pregnant with our son, and I was just really grateful that we had him. And at first, we were just kind of like, well, let's just see what happens. And I was on birth control after having my son, but I went off of it when he was about two, maybe. And we, kind of unofficially tried for a few years, and nothing happened. And I did track my cycles, so I did know when I was supposedly fertile, but nothing happened. And when he was about 5 or 6, my son, I bagged up all the baby stuff and all the toddler stuff, and I got rid of it. I gave some away. I sold some very cheaply on Facebook Marketplace, and we just kind of got rid of everything. And I just assumed after a couple years it wasn't going to happen. So um, fast forward to this summer, it was even a couple years after that. Um, I'm 39, about a month away from turning 40. My son is about a month away from turning 8. And my cycle was always early or on time. It's never late, ever. And I was late. And um, I just thought, well, at the time I was running a lot. I was training to run a 10K. So I was running up to 5, 6 miles at a time. And I thought, well, I'm just exercising a lot. And I know that can cause a late period. Um, Plus, I'm going to be 40. So maybe my cycle is changing. Pregnancy was never what I thought it was. I did
Hmm.
have some other things happening to my body that at the time I just never attributed to being pregnant. I just totally ignored them. So, um, after I was about 2 or 3 days late, It was a Saturday. It was June 25th, 2022. I still remember the date. And I was dressed to go running. It was about 7 in the morning. And I thought, well, I'm going to the park. I'm going to pass Walmart. I'm going to stop in. I'm going to take a test, get a test, take it, and just move on with my life because I know it's not going to be positive. So I got to the park. This is how sure I was it was going to be negative. I didn't even go home. I went to the park and I went inside the porta potty because I knew it was going to be negative. And I mentioned with my son, my first son, that I was willing that positive line to show up. The test line showed up dark, and then that positive line showed up so faintly. I went
Hmm.
in the porta potty and it was like those lines switched. Immediately the positive line showed up and then the test line was very faint. And I just I looked at, my results. I looked over to the right where they have like this means you're pregnant, this means you're not. I just kept looking back and forth like this can't be. And I was still sitting there on the porta potty, like jaw dropped, and my heart was pounding. I was like, oh my gosh, this can't be. There's no way. Yeah, so I found out I was pregnant in a porta potty. um, so I did not run. I did not feel like I wanted to at that point. So I got back in the car and I drove home and I came into the house and my husband and son were both in the living room. It was probably like 7:30, 8 in the morning. And I called my husband into the kitchen and I showed him the test and he rolled his eyes and smiled like I was joking and he walked out of the kitchen. And I immediately started sobbing. I just lost control. And he walks back in.
Because he wasn't believing you.
I don't know that and just being overwhelmed by it. It was just everything. And he walks back in the kitchen and he has a huge smile on his face. He's like, are you serious? I was like, yes, why would I lie about this? And I'm just sitting there sobbing, sobbing. And my son comes in the kitchen because he hears me sobbing. And he sees the Walmart bag and he goes, oh, did Walmart mess up your order? I said, yeah, Walmart messed up my order. I didn't want to tell him like the real reason why I was crying at the time. Um, so that's how I found out I was pregnant. It was definitely a surprise, definitely was not planned, at least on our end. But yeah, that's how I found out I was pregnant with baby number two. So,
I love that story.
oh, so I started. Well, my son was having his school friend's birthday party that day. It was his birthday party. It was about a month early, but we always do it at the end of June because 4th of July, and then we were going on vacation, and I just didn't want everyone to forget. So we didn't tell him. I wanted to focus on his birthday party. And so he had his birthday party and it was great. He had so much fun. And on the way home, I told my husband, let's just stop at Rite Aid really quickly, which is a drugstore here in Western Pennsylvania. And I just wanted to get digital tests to confirm. And I wanted to get prenatal vitamins too. I wanted to start that right away.
Hmm.
And my cousin worked there. And I I didn't really think about it at the time. When I walked in, I didn't see her. I didn't want anyone to know, although we did tell our parents by this point. But um, so I went and I got the digital test and I got the vitamins. And of course, when I walk up to the register, my cousin is the only one there at the register. So I looked at her and I said, don't tell anyone. She said, I promise I won't. She didn't. So we came home and I went into the bathroom and I took both at the same time. And of course, they both showed up as positive. And my husband laid them on his desk in the office. And my son doesn't really go in there too much. And we were going to see fireworks that night. Our town does them about a week before 4th of July. And I was just exhausted. So I went upstairs to lie down. And about 5 minutes later, my husband comes up and he says, guess what? He walked in and he saw the test. So I had to tell him what they meant. So that's how my son found out that I was
Oh,
pregnant.
that is
Not
funny.
the way we wanted to tell him, but that's what happened. That's what happened. So, yeah.
Wow.
So,
So
yeah,
how far along were you when you found out?
probably like 5 weeks. I mean, it was just like right at the tip of being able to find out I was positive. I was like 5.5 weeks,
Mm.
maybe.
And what about your doctor? Did you just go to your OB that you've been going to?
Yes, I did. And they did schedule me pretty much right away just to get that initial test. And they wanted to do an ultrasound right away, I think just because of my age,
Hmm.
and because I was actually considered high risk before, because I got pregnant so soon after surgery. So I think they just wanted to make sure that everything was okay. So they did take me right away,
Hmm.
which I was very thankful for because I was very nervous being 39, almost 40, and pregnant again.
Hmm.
And yeah, so
So I understand you don't like being pregnant. Could you explain a little bit about that?
I'm just very uncomfortable physically, mostly.
Hmm.
Um, I've always been like in shape and fit, and I've always felt that's how I feel physically my best. Um, we're very, very busy, so I'm constantly running around. Like I work full time, I'm on my feet all day as a teacher, as a primary teacher. And my son's involved in a lot of sports and activities. So I just physically, it's just harder this time, I think, being 40, and just carrying this extra weight that I typically don't have on my body. It's just been hard. Like I'm really uncomfortable.
Hmm.
Um, I mean, I do enjoy some aspects of it. I enjoy feeling him move, which is constantly. This kid is very hyper. Um, and I am trying to embrace it, but physically, I just don't feel great. I had a very hard time in my first trimester with this one, which I didn't have with my son before. I was extremely lethargic, exhausted, like my brain felt numb. Um, and I just felt like such a blob, and I'm used to just being so active, especially in the summer. We we would always go to the pool a lot, and I just really could not do any of that this summer. I was very nauseous a lot. I don't have any of that right now, but I just feel I'm out of breath all the time. um, and I'm carrying differently this time too. He's My belly is a little bit higher this time, although he sits very low, which is also very uncomfortable.
Hmm.
um, so I do struggle with it, and I feel blessed. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm thankful that I have this little miracle that I never thought I would have. But just physically, it's just been really hard on me this time.
Hmm.
I don't get to come home and rest like I was able to before. I don't get to put my feet up. I come home from work and I'm making dinner and my husband's working, and then I'm taking my son to martial arts or soccer practice or piano lessons, and it's just really exhausting.
Hmm. So you keep saying he. Have you found out the sex?
Yes, yes, we're having another boy.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah. Yeah, yes. Thank you.
Let's bring us back to when you found out the sex of the baby.
Okay, so my OB, I did not do any of the genetic testing. I know I could have found out the gender pretty quickly, but I'm a worrier and I did not want to worry about anything else during this pregnancy. I felt like being 40 is enough to worry about during this pregnancy because I did turn 40 about a month after I found out I was pregnant. Um, and I just figured there's nothing I can do about it anyway. So um, they scheduled my first ultrasound. I feel like it was probably for the second week of October, which I would have been about 20 weeks then. And I decided I didn't want to wait that long. So my husband and I did one of those elective ultrasounds, 3D, 4D ultrasounds. And that was,
Oh, those are really neat.
yeah, I think that was about the end of September. So that is when we found out. Yeah, that was wonderful. It was a wonderful experience. I very much enjoyed it. I wish when I got my doctor ordered ultrasounds, it was as comfortable in that room. It was just so comfortable in there, and it was just so awesome. Um,
What made it so comfortable?
just this big, huge, it was like a bed. It wasn't one of those like medical beds. It was this bed, and they had pillows on it and like soft blankets, and there was a big screen right in front of me. I didn't have to crank my head over to the side to see the little tiny screen. The lights were dim and there was a diffuser and quiet music. I mean, it was amazing. It was wonderful.
That sounds much better experience
Yeah.
than the sterile
Oh, yes.
hospital bright lights.
Uh-huh. Exactly. Yeah. Much better.
And you are 25 weeks, is that correct?
I will be on month. So in 2 days from this recording, I'll be 25 weeks. So yeah, just about 25 weeks.
And how are you preparing this time around for baby?
Oh, well, we are starting from scratch because as I mentioned before, we pretty much got rid of everything. Now I did find a few things in storage, thank goodness. But definitely not enough. People have been so generous, I think mostly because they have had all their children and they're done and they've had some things that they were just hanging on to. So we have gotten some things for free. We've gotten some things really cheap. A parent at the school I teach at, I haven't even had her children yet. And she came in one day with this big bin of clothes for me, baby clothes. She's like, just keep them and pass them on when you're done. And she told me the other day, she said, I have another bin for you. So I've gotten a lot of clothes. I've been using Facebook Marketplace to buy used things because, second time around, I know I don't need all the brand new things.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I've been spending a lot less money, but, people have been very generous. We're slowly stocking up again, slowly cleaning out the office to become the nursery, because my husband works a lot and with me working and taking my son everywhere, we're not home very much. So it's a very slow process this time. Um, so that's really what we're doing right now. I mean, I know that we'll be fine, but I just kind of wish it was all ready to go at this point. Like I said, I worry so much. I'm a worrier, but
I understand that mother's warrior.
yeah, we're starting over.
So, what do you think about classes? Do you think you need them this time around?
I don't think so. I was very lucky too with my son, with my first baby who's 8 now. My labor and delivery was so smooth and it was so quick too. Um, and
How quick?
yeah, he was born in like 4.5 hours. I was induced.
Oh my
I
gosh.
was induced because I had an appointment the day before and I was already halfway dilated. So they were worried that if I would start having contractions at home, that I would have him
Mm-hmm.
before I got to the hospital. So, and he did come very quickly. But it's funny because he's the most impatient person I've ever met. So, I mean, no wonder he was born in 4 hours. He's like, I just got to get out and get this done. So, um, but I don't feel like I need to, although they were definitely useful for my first one. I feel like at this point, I know what to expect a lot
Mm-hmm.
more. So I was not planning on taking any other classes, but I am following different social accounts too. So I feel like I'm getting advice that way as well.
Yeah, I find that really helpful also.
I think it's more helpful too because I think, I mean, these are people that have gone through it, and rather than, not that the instructors haven't, but I just like hearing things from real people who have really gone through it and just really share the truth. So I feel like I get better information that way anyway.
I agree. What about products? Is there anything that has helped you during pregnancy?
I haven't really been, I do have a pregnancy pillow, which helps me at night because, as I mentioned, I feel like very short of breath. I'm carrying a little bit higher, so I feel like everything's kind of squished in there. So having that pillow to prop me up and kind of pull under me a little bit has help me be able to breathe better and relax a little bit more at night. And I do use like a tummy butter on my actually all over my body because I do have very dry skin, but that seems to be helping too with the stretching on my skin. It's not as uncomfortable, not as itchy this time. I was very itchy, I remember, with my son with that stretching. So I've been just trying to use that tummy butter a little bit more, and that seems to help as well. But
Mm-hmm.
other than that, I'm not really using anything special
Mm-hmm.
for the pregnancy.
Okay. How are the cravings?
Right now, I feel I don't really have any, but um, I was really craving tomatoes a couple weeks ago, which is strange because I really don't even like them too much. And I could not get enough of them. I was just eating tomatoes. I was eating the tomato sandwiches, and um, I mean, my body must have needed some of the nutrition that comes in tomatoes. But lately, I've just had pretty much a normal appetite. I do have some aversions to meat, which I did with my son as well.
Hmm.
Um, but I not as bad this time. Last time I could barely eat meat. This time it's not quite as bad, but my appetite's pretty normal, and the things that I'm eating are pretty normal too
Hmm.
right now.
So you are walking. You've kind of stopped running.
Yes, yes. He, as I mentioned, he sits very low, um, and it can be very uncomfortable, like right on my bladder or just way down there. It's just a very odd feeling. So running, I feel like he just kind of dipped down there much quicker,
Hmm.
whereas walking, it doesn't seem to be as bad, and I can kind of stop and like I kind of shift him up with my hand a little bit, kind of push him up, and he kind of comes up a little bit. But I just found running to be uncomfortable while pregnant. I did try a few times, and I cannot get into it, and it's just me. I know many people do it. My doctor told me to go ahead and do it, but so I've been trying to walk and try to walk kind of fast rather than run right now.
Hmm. And has your doctor had any concerns about your age or anything like that?
At No, at this point, they said you're healthy, you're fit. I've had no issues at this point. More than halfway pregnant through this pregnancy, I've had no issues, and I'm concerned about delivering early, and they said at this point, everything's fine. I haven't had high blood pressure or swelling or anything like that. So at this point, everything looks great, and I have appointments about every 4 weeks at this point. So yeah, so far so good. So there aren't really any concerns, and in fact, my doctor said we see this a lot, and we see very healthy pregnancies and very normal deliveries. So, um, that really did ease a lot of my fears when they told me that.
Good.
Yeah.
And what is your plan for birth?
Um, we are planning to do hopefully a vaginal birth again. My son was vaginal. And I really don't have like a lot of plans. Like I don't care about like the who's in the room. I had um, med students in the room when my son was born. That stuff doesn't bother me. Actually, I kind of found it more comforting to have more people in the room. So I am totally open to that. Um, I did have an epidural with my son. I almost missed the boat because I was really trying to um, make it last as much as possible. And it was probably like 40 minutes after I had it. Like I actually was ready to push, and they said, okay, we can let you sit a little bit longer and let it take a little bit longer, but then you'll have to be ready to push. So um, I definitely um I'm definitely going to get that again.
Hmm.
I know some people kind of frown upon that, but that's what I want to do. So
Why did you wait so long
yeah.
to get your epidural?
I wasn't really in a ton of pain. And I really thought I had a lot more time.
Hmm.
I was told that this is your first, you're going to be there for a long time. So I think I just really thought I had more time, and I was afraid it would wear off
Hmm.
if I got it too soon. So I was just really trying to stretch it out. And then when they told me like, you better get it now, I was like, oh, okay. I wasn't expecting that for sure.
Did you consider a doula or any other help?
No, I didn't. I felt like I had a good team. My doctor I had two doctors that I saw primarily there. One of them has since retired, but they were both there that morning. One was there early, and then the other one came, and then the other one came back and ended up delivering. My nurses there were awesome. I didn't feel like I needed one throughout the pregnancy either. I felt like I got enough attention from my doctor and the nurses there,
Hmm.
enough advice anytime I needed it. I also have an endocrinologist because I do have hypothyroidism. And I did have gestational diabetes also with my first. I haven't been tested yet this time, but I felt like I had a really good medical team, so I didn't feel like I needed to go that route.
Mm-hmm. So you're probably expecting hopefully a 4-hour birth again.
I don't know because I'm worried that if I do go into labor, I am worried about how quick it will go, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
It would be great if I was at the hospital and it did come quickly, but um, yeah, because that was so unexpected, I'm worried this one might come a little bit more quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And my husband might be at work, or hopefully I don't go into labor early and I'm still working. And I am a little bit nervous about that, to be honest with you.
How do you plan for that? Are you going to drive yourself to the hospital?
Um, my parents live about 12 minutes away
Oh,
and they're
good.
retired. So yeah, and then my if it happens overnight, my aunt lives even closer. She probably lives about 5 minutes away. So she's already on deck to come over here and sit with my son until my mom or dad can get here. So that way we can leave, if it happens overnight. If it happens and I'm at work, I'm actually really close to the hospital. I'm sure that the principal or the secretary, I'm sure they'll drive me up there, and my mom will meet me there, and my husband hopefully as well. So
Mm-hmm.
I have thought about that. I hope it doesn't happen, but kind of the plan.
That's something you don't really think about, but logistically,
Yeah.
you should.
Yes, definitely. Because it can happen at any point,
Mm-hmm.
you know? You have to be ready for sure.
So is the nursery ready? Is the car seat
No.
ready? Anything like that?
We do have a car seat. We were gifted one. So a friend of mine had an extra one, and she got it last September, and it was like their extra car seat if they needed it for another vehicle, and they never used it. So it still has a couple years on it. It was never used. Because if you get car seats, of course, you have to check the expiration date.
Mm-hmm.
It was manufactured last September, so it's barely a year old at this point. So we have that. We don't have it in the car, but we have it. So, we'll definitely get that in the car probably a couple weeks before just to be sure.
Mm-hmm.
But no, the nursery is not finished. It's the office and it's mostly my husband's stuff. And we're probably we it's probably almost totally cleaned out, but we have to finish getting it cleaned out. And then I think everything will go quickly. We have a crib. My cousin gave us her crib.
You really are thrifting everything.
We are, we're so grateful. Just so many people have come together, even people I never really expected, have just said, "Oh, I have this, would you like this?" I got a jogging stroller for $10. My friend just had it in her garage and
Oh my gosh.
hosed it off for me. And I loved the jogging stroller with my son. I mean, we lived in that thing until he was about 4. I had to throw it out because it was so beat up by the time we were done with it. So I hope that we get as much use from this one. But I mean, those are $200, $300.
Yeah.
So I got it for $10. I said, sure, I'll pay $10 for it. Of
Yeah.
course, I'm not passing that up. But yeah, we're probably about halfway done with the nursery at this point.
What about cord cutting? Is that something your husband plans to do?
Yeah, he did it with our son, and he'll do that again.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to assume you don't want to do anything with the placenta or anything
I do not. They can throw it away.
like that.
I had gestational diabetes last time, as I mentioned, and my doctor, it kind of made me laugh. He lifted up the trash bag. He said, "Your gestational diabetes is right in here with the placenta." I was like, "Thanks." So that's how I view the placenta. I don't need it after that.
Okay.
Does what it needs to do, and I'm done with it.
So what is your plan for postpartum?
Well, I am taking off the remainder of the school year. I'm due in February. So I do plan to be home the remainder of the school year. So just kind of come home, take it easy, hopefully be out of the hospital within a day or two. I mean, hopefully nothing serious goes on. Hopefully I can deliver vaginally. And, my in-laws and my parents are very, very helpful too. So, I'm sure they'll come over and help, especially those first few days. My husband is planning to take off for a few days. So hopefully just being able to relax a little bit, rest a little bit, accept a little bit of help, and hopefully I'll be back on my feet pretty quickly.
Mm-hmm. Do you plan to breastfeed?
Yes, I do. With my son, I actually had gotten my new teaching job Um, Actually, when I was about a week away from giving birth to him, I actually got the job. And I did start the school year when he was 4 weeks old because the job I had before was in a child care center. And it was just, I was working so much that even though he was only 4 weeks old, it was still giving me a lot of time back. So it was definitely a sacrifice I was willing to make. But and we had my parents watching him, so he didn't go to daycare. But what happened was I dried up pretty quickly because as a teacher, I don't have time to go pump. If I pump during lunch, I don't eat. If I pump during my prep, I get nothing done.
Mm-hmm.
So I did have to start substituting formula pretty early, which he was receptive to it, so it was okay. But it really did break my heart. And I'd say probably when he was about 3 months old, I was not producing anymore. So with me being off longer this time, like February until August, I'm really hoping to not only be able to breastfeed, but store up. I wasn't even able really to store much up.
Mm-hmm.
So that way, when I do go back to work, and I know I'm not going to be able to do it much longer, at least, we'll still have some hopefully frozen. And also, he'll be about 5, 6 months old then. So hopefully he'll be starting some solids as well, which will kind of help that transition.
Mm-hmm. That February birth is probably close to perfect.
Yes, it's working out very well for me. Yeah, so I'll be home, like I said, through the spring and summer with him.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Anything more you want to say about pregnancy or birth? Any advice?
I would say just, I mean, it's really hard to plan because anything can happen, but just, make sure you have a good medical team, make sure you have people that you're very comfortable with. I absolutely love my doctors. I feel extremely comfortable with them. Because you do want your birth experience to be as comfortable as possible because it's not very comfortable. So anything, as long as you have people there that help keep you grounded and you trust them, I mean, that made a huge difference for me. I knew I was in good hands. I didn't really worry about my birth too much, or my son's birth too much. So I would say just make sure you really have a good medical team that you really feel comfortable with and really, really can trust because they're the ones that are going to be there with you when you're delivering.
Mm-hmm.
And just kind of be ready for anything, like really find out, really just be prepared and educated on, different things that could happen. So that way, in case, something changes, it can change in an instant. You may be getting a C-section, you never know. So just kind of always be prepared for that as well.
Mm-hmm. What would you say the biggest challenge has been being pregnant in your 40s?
I don't even know so much if it's like the pregnancy. Well, it's really not about being in my 40s. It's about having such an active other child that's so much older,
Mm-hmm.
and just trying to keep up on his routines and his schedules while being pregnant. And it is a little bit harder on my body this time. I was 32 when I had him, so I was 31 when I was pregnant with him. And, I am older now, and it is a little bit harder on my body now. But I think for me, I am a little bit worried about the age difference, although I'm assuming it will be great because my son is older and can help. But I'm worried about just starting over again, like totally with the newborn stuff, and he'll be 9. My son will be almost 9, and I'm more worried about that, and that's what I'm worried about, I think, more than the pregnancy.
Like the age gap.
The age gap, like we got our son to the point where he doesn't call us out at night, and he can kind of be self-sufficient, and then we're starting totally over again so many years later.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be honest with you.
And their needs are so different.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I still have to
Mm-hmm.
kind of keep up on my son's activity schedule. I'm not pulling him from martial arts. He absolutely loves it, piano. So, that's going to be more challenging too, with a baby, and keeping up on all that
Mm-hmm.
too. So,
What do you think about breastfeeding in public?
I was very timid about it with my son. I don't know. I mean, if it needs to be done, I'll have like a cover, but Um, if I'm able to pump and bring with me, I honestly would prefer to do that. I just don't feel very comfortable. I don't have a problem with other people doing it,
Mm-hmm.
and I know it's totally natural, but for me, I don't know, it makes me a little bit anxious, I think, Yeah, I didn't really do it too much with my son. I would, if we were at someone's house, I would go up into a room and like lock the door. I did not want to be bothered or watched or anything like that.
Yeah. I've seen pumps that are completely like independent. So you could almost be pumping and no one would know.
Yeah, yeah. My friend suggested one. She just had a baby last year, so actually in the spring, not last year. So she was suggesting some things to me as well. She's kind of in the same boat as far as that goes too. So,
Okay. So she liked it.
yeah. So she, yeah, yeah, she did. She thought it was much more helpful.
Okay. Anything else you'd like to share?
I just wish, everybody luck, especially if you're trying to conceive. I mean, I'm proof that even after 6 years of not protecting and not really watching, it can happen. I mean, it can happen anytime. So, never give up hope for sure. Both of my babies are miracles. The first one we went through a lot to have, and then this one, even though he's coming so many years later, we didn't think we were going to have him. I thought I was a mom of one, and here he is, and I'm very grateful. It was harder to accept this pregnancy, but I'm really happy my son won't be alone out there in the world, that he will have a brother that I know he will be very close to one day. And, just don't ever lose hope. It can definitely happen.
Now, why do you think it was hard to accept this pregnancy? Do you think because it wasn't planned?
Yeah, I was totally never thinking it would ever happen.
Okay.
And that's why too. And I'm just so engrossed in my career and my son's life, my son's activities too. It's like, well, how are we going to make this work? How are we going to squeeze a baby in here? But, it's about being flexible. You just have to shift gears a little bit.
Yeah. And I think as women, we plan so much of our life out.
Yes.
And when
Oh, yeah.
something interrupts that, it's
Yeah.
a hard time just coming to terms with that,
Yes.
whether it's good or bad.
And that's me for sure. I am a planner for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why it was such a hard adjustment.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So do you think you're going to have more kids in your 40s?
No. I think two's good. I'm happy about having two. I've always wanted to have two children. So even though I was not really open to it right away, when I found out I was pregnant, growing up, and I've always envisioned having two children. And actually, even though I didn't think it would happen, there was still like this little part of me that just thought that like it would happen. It's really strange. There's a little part that just said like, you're going to have another one. But even though I never really thought about it or thought it would happen,
When did you have that thought?
it's just like on and off, like just on and off over the last couple years. It just would just kind of pop in my mind, and then, but I didn't believe it. I just thought maybe I was just just thinking it. It just was a random thought that popped up.
Yeah.
But
Our mind is so powerful, though.
I guess it was that intuition.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that intuition for sure. Yeah. But I think two's good, and I'm just going to enjoy having an older child and a baby, and that's good for us.
Well, great. Congratulations. And
Thank you.
I hope your pregnancy goes well in the third trimester. And
Yeah.
I can't wait to follow your story.
Thank you. I really appreciate sharing it with you.
Didn't you love how Rachel found out she was pregnant? And I don't know about you, but I can totally see my husband reacting the same way as her husband. And it's like society says we are supposed to love pregnancy, and we aren't allowed to say, I don't like being pregnant, or I had a hard time accepting the pregnancy. And I really appreciate Rachel's honesty with those thoughts. And those are the genuine thoughts from women I want to continue to share with you. On next week's show, we have Jody, who is 43 during her pregnancy, and I can't wait to share. Until then, have a great week, and I will see you next Monday. Bye.